Hello everyone, I'm a Mess Slave and welcome to my Fire Emblem Fates Conquest Renown Efficiency. That's a very obscure title of a playthrough, so I'll explain that momentarily. First thing that I have for you today is going to be just the pre-Branch of Fate maps because they're pretty simple and I'll just be demonstrating the baseline efficient clears that I haven't really spent too much time on. I'm more just doing on the fly without much observation. But in these, female corn is preferable, so I make a female corn named Chorizo because I like naming my corns after food. And she will be plus speed minus luck because I want to maximize speed before I change the boon to something else in Chapter 6. I'll also be changing to male in Chapter 6, but I'll explain why that matters later. Talent doesn't matter yet, but it will later. Renown and Fates is something that you get for visiting other people's castles and having other people visit your castles, and you get to claim certain rewards for them. Among them are 2 of every stat booster, including boots, which is very, very important, naturally. 1 of every non-generic weapon or staff, so you're not going to get stuff like silver weapons or recover or like a men's staff or something, but you will get um, say a rescue staff or effective weapons, which is really, really good. You also get the Battle Seal and Visitation Seal, which the Battle Seal, just by holding it, gives you +2 to your offensive stats, so strength, magic, skill, speed. And then the Visitation Seal gives to your more defensive stats, luck, defense, res, +2 each. This is naturally quite strong to be able to stack these in addition to potential tonics or meals, which I also make extensive use of. In this playthrough, I will just have effectively infinite resources to use forging or meals or whatever, or feeding Lilith as much as I want. What I am not allowing, or I'm also allowing path bonuses, which more boots, most importantly, but also the Dreadfighter and Dark Falcon access, which is somewhat important. Um, and I also am not permitting time advancement of use. So stuff like using private quarters to grind supports, or getting infinite money by just feeding Lilith over and over again. I'm not going to be allowing that. It doesn't make a huge difference because money's not that tight, since I can just kind of sell crappier weapons that you get from Renown or something. But I thought I'd add that touch because I don't know, I just don't like it. um, I just feel like I need some clear cut rules for myself when I make a playthrough like this. I am not allowing any DLC beyond these path bonuses, which are barely DLC, really. They're just stuff you get for having all 3 paths on your cartridge. uh, and I'm trying to be reliable with this playthrough. That's why it's not called an LTC. It's called an efficiency, because I'm gonna be adhering to a rule set that kind of tries to aims to lower expected turn count, which I'm not gonna go into it too much because I'm not really the best person to explain what ETC fully is. But basic idea is you want to weight both reliability and actual turns, and as a result, this playthrough will be using strategies that does not require you to reset your 3DS 20 times over just to complete. The main inspiration that I had for this playthrough was to try to achieve similar turn counts that the true LTC of this game by Chiki from 2016 does. Try to match those turn counts as much as I can, but reliably using these broken extra things that Chiki didn't really use. Chiki did not use Renown or the path, or even the path bonuses. So we actually only had the boots that the main campaign gives you, while I have those in addition to all these path bonus and Renown boots, which comes into play quite a lot, I should add. I end up as one. I also like I said before, try to emphasize reliability in my strategy so that you're not resetting over and over. But I also try to take this into account with the actual stats on my units. In Fates Lunatic mode, which this playthrough is on, in case you didn't notice, like your level ups are seeded. Uh, After like when you first join, the game is gonna be rolling all your level ups then and there. Like so, like someone that joins mid map, like Silas in Chapter 7, you could like rig his level ups in Chapter 7, but after that you can't. And so it's kind of like weird because I could either get really screwed on my units or get really blessed on my units. But I try to like assume, like all my strategies try to assume that I'm working with pretty pessimistic stats, like stuff that like they have units have a great or 90% or greater chance to achieve, like to like reach, like in terms of like their cumulative probability and binomials and stuff. Um, but that doesn't like even if so like you might see like pretty hilarious level ups on certain units, but I try to like take those into account and like refrain from tonicking or something like that because of it. I As you can see like from this chapter, like from this chapter is where it starts to show, because I'm not rigging like Chiki was. The pre-branch of fate part's gonna be a little slower than his, uh but that makes sense considering there's some room to rig, but that I'm not making use of. As you might have noticed, I was trying to like maximize Corrin's EXP for these first couple chapters because Corrin, as you'd probably guess, is extremely important for the rest of the run. She gets like really good level ups, or maybe not really good level ups, but like a little better than I'd like them to be pre-branch of fate. So I actually hacked them down a little bit after after I beat chapter 6, but I'll get into that more later. Um, so right now, now we're in chapter 4, and I guess I feel like I've explained more important a lot of the important rules. I'll probably like write them down somewhere in like the description and stuff, um, for you to see in case you didn't want to just listen to me ramble for this entire time. And so now that we're in chapter 4, I should point out that Kaze is probably like Kaze with a Renka pair up is pretty important for making some of these paceless for Corrin to advance and activate Dragon Veins and the like. It's because the idea is that like the baseline for this map essentially is that it ends when like is an 8-turn clear where you more or less don't really do anything after you activate this middle Dragon Vein. You just let Ryoma keep running up and murdering everything. But extra EXP on Corrin and Kaze is nice. Kaze is actually probably more important in the next chapter than he is in the main campaign of Conquest, but since having more levels on him carries over to Conquest, that's pretty nice. So here, Rinka passes off Kaze to Corrin so that she can double these faceless. Even without like the ridiculous level ups that this Corrin has gotten so far, you can still double these faceless with Kaze pair up pretty easily if you're plus speed. And that she does dash that, but you need pretty high strength to kill that faceless that just attacked her. But the other two she annihilates. All right, let me. Now we're at the boring part, so let me talk about something else. Because I, have so many broken tools at my disposal, the end result of this playthrough is that it actually does come pretty close to Chiki for the main campaign, just because of all the extra movement tools and just better stats overall, even despite the lack of rigging. But what I should also point out is that I do play the Mozu Paralogue, which Chiki does not do. But this run is not going to be explicitly for recruitment for Gen 1. So the run's actually so fast that no one gets married, so I actually can't do Shadow Paralogs even if I wanted to. but I do Mozu Paralogue because I like what the extra map enables. I do it between chapters 8 and 9 specifically, and I'll explain a little more when we get there. I also kill Shura because he's a boots, and that's like really valuable. So rip Shura in advance. I'm sorry. Now it's this last part of the map. I'm just trying to milk more EXP on Kaze, because it's important that Kaze either procs HP, defense, or resistance, as well as speed, but he has like an 85 growth, so that's kind of assumed. He needs to proc a defensive stat, or he needs to not proc strength. That sounds very weird, but since we're about to get into Chapter 5, I'll explain exactly why that's the case. What I should probably point out is that despite that, because of, you know, all the infinite resources, using the prison for captured generics is actually very, very influential. So if you're a fan of seeing generic units do a lot of work when they just have completely randomly generated names, look forward to that. All right, so now we are in Chapter 25, which is the most complex of... Did I say 25? I meant 5. The most complex of the pre-branch freight maps. It's important that Kaze has procced speed so that he can double this initial mercenary. I did this weird train chain with Chakra so that I can just take the vulnerary from Corrin back onto Kaze. And he needs to have speed to double this merc. But the thing is, if he has not procced any defensive stat, even in the range of Sakura's aura, he cannot survive that merc plus the mage. However, if he has not procced strength, he can double the mercenary on player phase, and then on enemy phase, the mercenary will attack him first, and he will fill up his guard gauge because he still takes 2 more hits to finish him off. Whereas if he procs strength, he would take 1, and then he would die to the mage. But now he blocks the mage's attack and counters it. Basically, the way to do this map efficiently, you know, in this baseline clear that I've just kind of stolen, is that Kaze needs to pull this bottom right group of dark mages, but he also needs to not aggro the Worm Slayers towards him. You want the Worm Slayers to go towards Corrin. So you stay out of range of the farthest most dark mage so that the mercenaries do not try to assist that mage in attack stance. Then, you know, Kaze will take on both these mages and counterattack them so that he can kill them on player phase. But now the mercs are going for go towards Corrin. Corrin can take 1 Wormslayer hit and live with 1 HP. So you kill the first one on player phase because you one-shot him because you're hilarious Feral Dragon right now. And then on enemy phase, you'll kill the other and live the hit. Now Kaze just milks as much EXP as he can off these mages because he's the only one that can really fight them. Azura and Sakura each live 1 hit from these mages, so it's okay for, you know, Kaze to not kill them all on player phase. It's just once Sakura takes this hit right here, like she does, she has to stay out of range. But that was the hard part when it came to staying out of range. Oh, and Rip Ryoma. It's important that Ryoma gets that boss into Corrin kill range because Corrin doesn't have perfect hit, so it'd be nice to have to just hit 1 and 2 because you do have 2 chances of hitting them with Corrin. So now yes, Kaze deals with this mage while Azura and Sakura run away. And, you know, Azura and Sakura are going to need to help Corrin now because I need to get to the boss in a timely fashion. Azura is also going to be taking her, you know, resident single hit from a mage. I also need to be able to get Kaze to that other side of the map to deal with that mage because Corrin's not going anywhere near it since he can't counter it. Or she can't counter it, sorry. So now, heal Corrin, dance, and I don't want to be in the range of the boss. That wouldn't kill. He wouldn't kill, but it's why, you know, why be in range if I can't counter? So Kaze managed to dodge a lot of the mage's hits. But the reason why I had the vulnerary there was to heal him, use it to heal this turn. So I just kind of don't do anything. He kills the 1 mage on enemy phase, levels up yet again. And the other one, he'll just 2 round because Azura's dance is free here. Kaze finishes the first mage. And then God. If there's probably the biggest pet peeve I have throughout this playthrough is watching Azura level ups. Because they just don't matter and they just waste time. But it makes me miss the days when dancers only got 10 EXP per dance. Okay, so Sakura heals Corrin. I have 2 chances of hitting the boss, but I hit it on the first one. the boss wasn't going to kill me. And Kaze just finishes the mage off on enemy phase. Well, that is Chapter 5, completed in 2 turns. That is the entire Branch of Fate section played somewhat efficiently. I will see you next time for the main meat of the run. Oh, yeah, and Corrin chokes out his right here. See you... Oh, yeah. I will see you next time. We got the Atto. That's also somewhat helpful. Peace, and we'll look forward to the rest.